The current event I have chosen to discuss is the ongoing presidential election in Brazil. Brazil uses a two-round system for its presidential elections, meaning that in order to win the election, a candidate must win more than 50% of the total vote. If no candidate is able to win more than 50% of the total vote in the primary, a second round of elections will occur between the two candidates who has received the most votes. On October 7th, Brazil had 13 candidates running in the presidential primary. However, none of them were able to receive more than 50% of the total vote, which has resulted in the need for a second round of elections. The runoff election will take place this Sunday on October 28th and is between Fernando Haddad and Jair Bolsonaro. Fernando Haddad represents the left-wing Workers' Party, and Jair Bolsonaro represents the right-wing Social Liberal Party. This is the most polarized presidential election in Brazilian history. Brazil just suffered the worst economic recession on record and underwent a massive corruption scandal involving a majority of high-ranking government officials. This presidential election is very important in Brazil because it will determine what direction the country is headed towards. Jair Bolsonaro is the favored candidate to win the election, and if he does actually win, it will have major implications for the future of Brazil. He is a former army captain and has been known to attack progressive values, women, and minorities. If elected, he plans to decrease gun control, punish criminals more harshly, and potentially institute a death penalty. He is adamantly against the Workers' Party and appeals to conservatives and Brazil's evangelical population, which is continuing to grow. His motto is Brazil above everything, God above all, which is used to evoke a sense of nationalism. Many believe the success of Bolsonaro's campaign is due to the fact that he is not associated with the Workers' Party. Many members of the Workers' Party have been arrested due to their involvement in the corruption scandal with the oil company Petrobras. Because of this, many citizens associate the Workers' Party with corruption and are completely unwilling to vote for any member of that party. Many see Bolsonaro as trustworthy because of his uninvolvement in the corruption scandal and his open dislike of the Workers' Party. However, many do not support Bolsonaro at all due to his stances on democracy and his controversial statements about women and minorities. He is openly homophobic and has been recorded saying that he would rather his son be dead than homosexual. He has made many crude comments about rape and women, the most well-known comment being that Congresswoman Maria do Rosario was not his type and that she was too ugly to rape. Because of this comment, he is currently slated to stand on trial for charges of slander and incitation to rape. Another reason many people do not support Bolsonaro is because they see him as a threat to democracy. Democracy was reestablished in Brazil 3 years ago with the election of President Lula and the development of the Workers' Party. Before this, Brazil was under strict military rule, which was basically a dictatorship. Bolsonaro claimed to openly support the way Brazil was ruled under the military and denies that this type of rule was a dictatorship. Many Brazilian citizens do not want to elect Bolsonaro because they are scared he would try to revert the country into more of a dictatorship and less of a democracy. He is also not very well versed in economics and admitted that if elected, all economic policymaking would be delegated to his economic advisor, Paulo Guedes, who is known to favor central bank intelligence and lowering the tax burden on Brazilian citizens. Many believe, given Brazil's current state of economic turmoil, it is crucial that the next president be very experienced and well-versed in economics, which Bolsonaro is not. The other candidate in the runoff election is Fernando Haddad, who represents the Workers' Party. Originally, former President Lula was supposed to run for re-election and represent the Workers' Party, but because of his involvement in the corruption scandal, was declared ineligible to run and therefore gave his verbal support to Fernando Haddad. Unlike Bolsonaro, Haddad has university degrees in economics and law and understands Brazil's current economic crisis. He is a harsh critic of banks and wants to increase taxes on them, and also opposes the sale of state-owned companies, including Petrobras. He supports democracy, but due to the immense corruption of the Workers' Party has lost a lot of support. His main issue is convincing voters to listen to him, despite the corrupt reputation of his party. Most of his supporters are located in northeastern Brazil, because when the Workers' Party first became influential, they helped bring many people in this region out of immense poverty. People in these areas are incredibly grateful to the party and are still willing to vote for Haddad, despite all of the corruption. However, this is only one area of Brazil, and most of the other areas are predicted to support Bolsonaro. With elections rapidly approaching, many citizens have become passionate about the future of their country. There has been an increasing amount of violence and protests in the streets of Brazil. Bolsonaro was even stabbed at one of his rallies a month ago, which showcases just how deeply polarized Brazil's political climate has become. It is very important to keep an eye on this election because whichever candidate wins will have to face the challenge of uniting a divided country and gaining back the trust of the Brazilian citizens.